Well, I know what you're thinking. Another fucking update from this guy. When the hell are we gonna see some goddamn movies? Well, they're coming along. I just finished the Friday the 13th fan film script. The script is all done, 100% done, ready to go. So, it's time to start making steps towards actually getting the thing made. And you know, I decided to do this update not as the usual news bullshit stuff, because frankly there's nothing really new to talk about. I had a really bullshit day, bullshit week actually, a whole fucking week, aside from Sunday. I hung out with my buddies in HEMI and everything. I was in their video update earlier this week, so. But I just felt like I needed to give you something a little different for me. Sorry for being scatterbrained, but it's just all spur of the moment type of thing. It just felt like, I just feel like I should throw out something that's a bit more personal, less about another idea I got going, another script I'm writing, another thing that's going nowhere type of thing. Just give you something, a little more insight to myself as a filmmaker, stuff like that. I guess the best way to go about it is just kind of tell you how I got to this point in filmmaking and everything. It's kind of a interview with an interviewer, but I figure a little context, a little perspective on where I've been and the shit I've gone through, and so on and so forth, and kind of like what inspires me, what influences me, why I do what I do, why I make the types of films I make, or at least the ones I try to make. More or less, I mean, for all these years, I've always loved movies. I've been probably the biggest influence on me from the get-go, from from when I was a kid, was Star Wars. I'm still, you could really still say I'm a real Star Wars fanatic in a way, by the fact that right above me, out of frame here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 editions of the original trilogy on VHS tape. I have 2 sets of the DVDs. Basically, I've been a Star Wars fanatic for my whole life. I was born in 1980, a few months before Empire Strikes Back came out. The first one I saw in theaters was Return of the Jedi when I was 3 years old. My parents took me to see it. Of course, they had to take me out of the theater because I was crying and everything, because I was 3 years old and all the loud noise and everything. But I still remember it. A little fragment of it, but I still remember it. And the reason why I have 4 different versions of on VHS is that I have, my parents originally, we originally had the trilogy recorded off like Showtime and whatnot. Then they actually bought me a real set of it from a retail set of the 3 films. It was pan and scan back then, and that was all that was available. And I didn't know about widescreen much of anything yet. And the special editions came out, and they got me the pan scan ones, and they re-released the special edition a few years later. So I got the widescreen finally. Got the films on widescreen finally. Then I got the original DVD set, and then there was another DVD set which had Laserdisc transfers from 1993 of the original theatrical versions. It's like, well, last year I decided I gotta get, I just gotta get these. I gotta have these original versions in widescreen, and then recently I got my final VHS set from the 1995 THX digitally mastered versions. They look great. I think they argue what you want. I think they look maybe even better than those 2006 Laserdisc transfers on the DVD. For various technical reasons, or everything, you can look it up on any kind of website or whatnot, Wikipedia or something. But I love them. Star Wars was big in my life. It's still pretty big. I got all kinds of stories, but I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff. Going back to the Friday the 13th thing, the main thing that really kind of got me hooked up with anyone also wanting to do filmmaking whatnot is 2003. I hooked up with this guy on a Friday the 13th discussion forum who actually lived out in Darien, Illinois, about half an hour away from me. And we hooked up, and we never really got anything done. We did a little, we tried shooting a couple things, but it never really panned out to anything big. Memorial Day weekend 2003, we kind of half shot something that I did edit it together, and then I re-edited it together about a year later with some extra footage I shot called Friday the 13th, The Living End. My friend at the time, Jason Pavlik, he was the guy behind the whole thing. And he'd been wanting to do a fan film as such for a long time. He just never had the resources or the people available to really do anything about it. I at least had a VHS camcorder, so that got us somewhere. He shot this kind of student project thing, which was kind of a dream sequence crossover between Star Wars and Friday the 13th, which is obviously right up my alley, and between what I've already said. So, but Jason was the first guy I got together with that had just we want to also make films, and it was also he got more into it sooner than I did. Mainly because my thing was like, well, I don't have any people. I don't know anyone. I don't know people. I don't have any connections. I don't know where to find people. He had a few people, just friends and whatnot, but people were willing to just jump into the thing with him, whether they were all that talented or not. They just allowed him to do something. And he was working on his own stuff. I was working on my stuff, and never got anything done together. But we kind of held each other out here or there or whatever. But in those like first 2 years, 3 years, we never really. Neither one of us together or separate got anything 100% complete. We got fragments of films shot. 2005 was the really kind of big, for me, that was the first point where I finally moved into something and tried to get something actually done, something that was original material, and that was a short film called Vengeance, obviously an action thriller. About a 25-page script about a hitman who gets betrayed by his own people and shot and left for dead, but he's wearing a bulletproof vest, so he comes back and wreaks vengeance, wreaks all kinds of havoc on them and tries to take his revenge on them and all this kind of stuff. Back then it was a bit more, obviously 25 pages, it was pretty lean and kind of a cliche. I mean, not so much cliche, but more kind of your standard action fare or whatnot. I was writing the thing, I was watching Desperado and Payback. So that was really kind of the thing that was the style of the film back then. Back in 1999 when I first started writing scripts, it was comedic stuff. Stuff like Kevin Smith type of stuff, Clerks stuff, that kind of vein. But I never, when I actually got around to actually shooting anything, none of that stuff really kind of panned out. I tried doing a few casting calls and it just went nowhere. I didn't have anyone show up to them, and it just went out the window. In 2004 was the real kind of pivotal year of my shift of focus of what types of films I wanted to make, because in 2004 the Michael Mann film Collateral had been released, and I saw that at a midnight showing, and that night it just completely changed everything. That one film just completely shifted my entire desire, my entire focus of just what I wanted to do as a filmmaker, the kinds of stories, the genre of film I wanted to go into. I love that film, I still love that film, and I'd seen Thief before that, from 1981 or whatnot, from Michael Mann and James Caan. But Collateral was a big film that kind of just opened the door to that genre and also more of Michael Mann's films. Since then, Manhunter has become my favorite, but I think The Insider is the best film Michael Mann has yet to make. I think that is an absolutely fantastic film, and I commend it even more because it's a film doesn't have any action set pieces, just dramatic emotion and events that happen to characters, very real characters, obviously because it's based on a true story. But I think that's just one of the most powerful films, one of the most realistic dramas I've ever seen, and I still love the film today. But Manhunter is obviously, by evidence of Dead of Night, that Manhunter is just my favorite Michael Mann film. I've never seen another film like it. Just in the cerebral style of the whole film, and just so enveloping, and such a just the vibe, the mood of the whole film. It's just so unlike anything I've ever seen before, or executed as well in any other film. Heat, obviously, fantastic film. You can't take anything away from it. But I think Heat should have been nominated for Best Picture of the Year. Pacino, De Niro probably should have gotten nominations too if they hadn't, or if they didn't. Inside Out, absolutely, I believe, should have won Best Director, Best Picture. Pacino and Crowe both should have gotten awards for their performances, especially Russell Crowe. He was fantastic in that film, absolutely enveloping that character of the real Dr. Wygand, and that just a powerful film, just powerful. But Collateral just shifted my focus all the way to the crime genre, a neo-noir crime genre, populated by all types of sociopathic people, a lot of the criminal element, delving into those kinds of psyches and those types of lives just became such a fertile ground for my imagination. And there's tons of other scripts I've written that haven't gone, I haven't pushed forward into any kind of production. But Vengeance, since 2005, I've rewritten Vengeance over and over again. Pretty much, I think now I might have left off a scene or whatnot that hasn't been finished, but basically the thing, I've rewritten the whole script into a totally different style that's about like 140 pages long. So that's kind of like the dream project. That is the dream project of me that sits on the shelf, and I know it's something that's going to cost a lot of money to be able to do, because it's just the scope of the script taking place all over Chicago, the amounts of characters and action set pieces and stunt work and all this other stuff. It's a very big production, something that just sits on the shelf until I'm at the right point of success, exposure, what have you, whatever you want to call it, for me to be able to say this is the right time, that this is the point where I can potentially do something with this script. And at the time I finished it, more or less finished, I felt it was the best stuff I had ever written up to that point. Kind of different now. I think I've been doing a lot of great. I think I'm very proud of a lot of the stuff I've been writing lately in terms of short film stuff, the kill shot scripts, this new Friday the 13th script. I love it. It's real compact. I mean, it's 16 pages with absolutely no fat of any kind. It's all just completely just all gung-ho all the way. Very intense script, but in my opinion, obviously. But Collateral started off, and a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, a few people have been like, well, talking like Godfather, Goodfellas. No, I've never watched those types of mafia films. I'm more into the crime films are a bit more kind of like focused more on like a lone character. They may be part of a group, but they're more of an individual amongst the group type of thing. James Caan's character in Thief, or De Niro's character in Heat, who exist as individuals inside of a group. You focus in very closely on those characters in particular. They're a very private person. They're much more, there's much more underneath the skin of these guys than what what you see. Uh, then there's definitely the character of Vincent, Tom Cruise's character from Collateral, that just really, that was the performance, that was the character that just kind of sucked me in, and just like, this is an amazing character. This is another fertile ground for my mind to explore. That's why I wrote Vengeance, because the lead character, Vance Derrick's the hitman who's left for dead. Yeah, he has a lot of Vincent-like qualities in that he's a very private guy who does what he does for certain reasons, but he doesn't like to discuss them with people. He's a very withdrawn person. He's not a social being. He has his own certain code of morality and honor, even though from a certain perspective they don't really add up in the right way, but that's how he operates. That's how his mind works. So it's characters like that, like Vincent or Neil McCauley or Frank from Thief or what have you, that really kind of really fuels my creative juices. Around 2005, after Vengeance had fallen apart, had a good first month, but the second month everything started falling apart. Fight choreographer couldn't get people together when we had things scheduled. That stuff fell apart. My lead actor, he was leaving for Los Angeles by a certain time, so I couldn't get things together with locations and stuff, and it was just me doing stuff all by myself. It was my first real serious production, and obviously that sort of stuff rarely ever goes as remotely as well as you'd hope it to go. So the film fell apart, didn't get finished. We shot some good stuff, but I have sentimental value for it. But if you probably looked at it and probably say, well, that's not all that great of a thing. Some good performances, especially from my lead actor. But regardless of that, after that fell through, I believe that fall I just did a blind buy of the first season of Miami Vice on DVD. I'd never really watched the show. I'd seen a scene here or there, but I just kind of dove right in and blind bought season 1, and I was in love with it from the first episode on, and I owned the whole series. I loved the show, and Miami Vice would end up really fueling the creative spark of The Fixer. Whenever I finally get the thing finished, get this one godforsaken song replaced and get the movie out there, anyone who knows my advice can probably really see a lot of where all that influence fit into the film. The neo-noir style, sort of the real nighttime era of the whole film. And a lot of the musical montage sequences are very Miami Vice-like. They had those on the show all the time, letting the music kind of speak for the storytelling, just use it as a storytelling device. Pop songs and rock songs to help drive the emotional story forward, the emotional plot forward in a way that you really can't express in words or even just a certain form of acting. It's more of it really incorporates music into the storytelling elements of the film or the show or what have you. And The Fixer is very, very much intertwined with that style of storytelling. And I was watching the show when I was writing the script. I was listening to all the music. I assembled a big collection of a lot of the music that was in the show over all 5 seasons, and so I was listening to all that stuff, and it was just it's totally ingrained with the whole script. And I won't get into much or anything, but I've bent on a few ideas here or there about certain music here and there, but more or less that it's in the fiber of the whole film. And obviously Manhunter was the reason for Dead of Night. My other big influence, not really much in terms of movies, but just in since everyone's superhero comic book crazy these days in the movie industry. Batman is top of the line for me. I mean, since I was a kid, it was just been Batman, 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 everything. Super Friends, the Adam West show, 89 hits. My parents wouldn't let me go see Batman in the theaters, probably best since I was 9 years old. But they did buy me the VHS tape that Christmas, and again goes without saying, it was a great film. Still is a great film. And I saw Batman Returns in theaters. I've seen all the Batman films in theaters, even Mask of the Phantasm, the animated feature from the early 90s. I love that film too. I got the entire animated series from the 90s on DVD. I've got Batman Beyond on DVD. I got Batman all over the place. I have an entire wall here of Batman posters. It's the Batman wall. It's the Bat wall. Because Batman's the be-all, end-all of comic books for me. Of superheroes for me. I mean, I've read all kinds of comic books. I've read Superman, Justice League, X-Men, whatever it is, Spider-Man, and Spawn. I was big in Spawn for many, many years, until just at a point they were just like, I couldn't afford to do the comic book thing anymore. It's happened a few times. But I was big into Spawn in the 90s. I read the comics. I watched the animated series. I saw the dang movie, which wasn't all that, in retrospect, it's not all that great. Just kind of kind of a fantasy action thriller type of thing that really didn't fit all that well into the property, in my opinion. With the animated series from HBO, that was absolutely fantastic, and Spawn was definitely big to me in the 90s. And what appeals the most to me about Batman is, I mean, people have said it all throughout the years, is that Bruce Wayne is just a man who achieved great things because he dedicated himself fully in both mind and body to a goal, to a ideal, to a mission. And I think it's a great message that a lot of people never, I don't know if they can ever catch on to it or whatnot, but I think it's a great message underneath Batman, that if you want something bad enough, if you want to achieve something bad enough, if it means enough to you, that you can devote yourself fully in mind and body and spirit, and you can achieve it if you work hard enough to get it. And Batman, again, is just a man, but he doesn't have superpowers. He's not from another planet. He doesn't have a power ring or wherever he gets superpowers from. He's just a man that dedicated himself fully, and the psychology of Batman is an amazing thing. Him and both him and his villains is just an amazing thing. I think that's what makes a lot of these Batman films work, the good ones. Especially, I mean, even the animated series that you can make it a very psychological, very cerebral, very, very human thing, because there is such a psychological twist to everything that involves Batman. And the Christopher Nolan films, I absolutely loved them. When I heard that Christian Bale was cast as Bruce Wayne Batman in Batman Begins, I was completely sold, because up to that point I had been a very strong Christian Bale supporter, American Psycho, The Machinist, a whole bunch of other stuff. And that Batman Begins launched me into being a Christopher Nolan fan. Absolutely loved The Prestige, Dark Knight. I'm floored that it didn't get Best Picture nominations, and beyond that, Inception was an absolutely brilliant film, absolutely positively brilliant film. I love that film. Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale, all those people involved with Nolan now, just they're phenomenal people, and Nolan brings out the best in them, and he brings out the best in the Batman mythos. And there's a lot of Batman in a lot of different projects I've done, a lot of characters I've done. P.I. Dangerous, there's some Batman in there. The Fixer, there's definitely Batman in there. Dark Man, trying to make right by other people trying to fill in gaps of the law, where people fall in, innocent people fall in, and they get into trouble and they get in a dangerous situation. There's no one else to help them, so you got guys like the Fixer and P.I. Dangerous getting in there. And I've said there's always a little bit of Batman and Bruce Wayne in a lot of my lead characters, at least the protagonist anyway. I mean, even in Killshot, the character of Lou, he's a very tragic figure. He's lost a lot of people in his life that have kind of twisted him in a dark way, a different way than Bruce Wayne was, but regardless, there's a lot of that in there. And I'm really looking forward to Dark Knight Rises. I'm sad that they didn't choose to come back to Chicago to shoot the thing, because I missed out on both previous shootings, filmings in Chicago on the film. Batman Begins was 2004 when they were shooting here, and I was not doing anything really film related back then. And then when they were shooting Dark Knight, I was in the middle of the Fixer, so there was just no time to do any of that. And a lot of times when I have stuff going on, I don't get out to the movies or get to do a lot of the stuff I like to do. But I've been in the Green Lantern. I am looking forward to the Green Lantern movie. I know a lot of people have been kind of talking shit about it, saying it doesn't look all that great, but you know, everyone's got their own opinions. I got my opinion, and I'm excited to see it. I've been talking about I'm not into spectacle anymore. I'm not big into CGI, visual effects, spectacle stuff. That's why I never saw Avatar. You'll never get me to see that movie. I just have no interest at all. Didn't have any interest before, even less interest, if that's possible, afterwards. Especially, I have no interest in 3D. I can't go on IMAX. It gives me vertigo. I can't go to that stuff. I just sit in the theater and watch it, and if there's merit to the film, I'll enjoy it. But I'm not going to go there and just watch a 90-minute, 120-minute visual effects reel. It's just not going to happen. Of course, I've seen both Michael Bay Transformers movies, so give me a kick in the head for being a hypocrite if that happens to be the case. But regardless, Transformers was also big. I love the '86 movie. I've had the soundtrack in 3 different formats since '86, cassette tape, original CD, and then an anniversary CD. So that movie's always been one of my absolute favorites of all time. And I'm probably running the damn VHS so many freaking times. I probably should have owned it about 3 or 4 or 5 times over. Transformers was really big. I got the whole series on DVD now. I got the movie on DVD. I just gave my VHS copy of the movie to HEMI for their own VHS collection, their rehearsal room for the band. So they'll be able to enjoy that too.